some big change on it.
Uh-oh.
And I was having trouble because I didn't have Wi-Fi. It was
Yeah.
going real slow. So it caused me a second to get in.
Well, we're glad you're here. All right.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I am so glad you're here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get things started. I've got the recording on and I'll be entering people as they come on. But welcome, everybody. We're so glad you're here this evening. I am going to cover our disclaimer. The AO scan technology is not a medical device. These statements that we share here have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. If you're sick, please consult with your healthcare provider. And in this case, your veterinarian. So we have a special guest on the call tonight. He is a dear, dear friend of mine. I am going to read to you a little bit about him. Kelly has spent years studying mainstream approaches to how the brain works. Subjects like neurolinguistic programming, conversational hypnosis kept him intrigued. Then he stumbled upon past life regressions and modalities of quantum healing. Then which changed his life forever. Through training and practicing quantum healing hypnosis, Kelly experienced his own rapid awakening that included many synchronicities, contact with his departed father, an ET visitation, and an encounter with a man who appeared to be Jesus. He understands how it feels to be experiencing strange phenomena that provokes one to question their sanity. So he's passionate about counseling those who are experiencing intense awakenings. Kelly is also a skilled clairvoyant and experienced entity removal, and I can testify to that. He got much of his initial training helping Araya when she was experiencing attacks from many different beings earlier in her awakening. Since then, they have both helped dozens of others clear themselves, their homes, and develop simple daily practices to keep themselves clear, protected, functioning more efficiently, and vibrating higher than they ever thought possible. Kelly believes that consciousness expansion is the most noble pursuit a person can have. His sessions are designed to provide substantial purification, trigger rapid awakenings, activations, and expands one's consciousness. In addition, Kelly loves to study ancient civilizations as well as ancient and sustainable technologies. I will let you know that I had a session with Kelly. I think it's been a little over a year.
Yeah.
But because of that session, we did a past life regression on me, and it was intense, you guys. I actually went to his home, to him and Araya's home, and spent the day with them. And through his hypnosis, he was able to carry me through some of my past life. Can everybody hear me? It's just you.
I can hear you.
Okay. Anyway, he put me through some of my past life and helped me to clear up some things that I think is what was causing me to rely. And I think many of you probably have seen my post today. That was a very vulnerable post. It had really nothing to do with our call tonight, but it kind of fits in perfectly. So I kind of think it's valid to share with you guys. But I believe because of my session with Kelly, I was able to become. I woke up one day and I had no desire whatsoever for alcohol. And I can tell you, I was drinking alcohol in excess every evening. I was to the point where I'd get drunk every night. So I really thank him for that session. It was extremely transformational for me. And he's also going to share an amazing testimonial with the little dog that he owns, Possum. And you guys may have been on a call a couple of weeks ago when I shared a little bit about her testimonial. But I'm going to let Kelly just speak about it in his words. So Kelly, go ahead and take the stage.
Yeah. I remember I woke up one morning and it looked like Possum was, I thought she was drunk for a second because she was wobbling around so much. And then when she tried to take a couple steps, she's just falling on her face. And I thought maybe she'd had a stroke or something like this. And you know, I'm trying to look at her for about a day or so, and it's basically like she's not eating. I have to carry her outside to go to the bathroom, and then the second you try to pick her up, she's like, oh, ooh, oh, because her organs are all super swollen, and so you can't carry her, but you can't not carry her, and I was, you know, if you're not eating and you can't go to the bathroom, right? You're just, I'm like, you know, what does that mean, right? And the dog, bless her heart, super smart dog, was kind of thinking the same thing. She was like, oh, well, it don't look good, and and Tammy calls me up, and I'm seriously, I'm like, I cried for a whole day straight, and I remember when she was having problems with her dog, uh, how much she said she cried, and I thought, God, it's just over a dog, you know, like, are you sure there's not some kind of a abandonment issue there or something like that? I thought, right, and then here it is a few weeks later, I'm just falling for an entire day over my dog, and and when she hit me up, I was just kind of sitting here trying to think of a spot on the property where, you know, there's not too many rocks where I can dig a good hole. And it's a pretty low point. And she's like, well, you know, I might be able to send some healing tones or something like that for you guys to do a scan or whatever. And I was like, you know, man, she doesn't even look like she like, wants to live at this point, right? And she's feeling so down. And she says, well, no, I could send some tones that would help her transition easier too if you wanted. And I was like, you know what? Let's just send some healing stuff to her. And if she doesn't want it, then it won't work. Right. And she says, exactly. Right. And so, you know, she kind of like starts to eat just a little, a couple nibbles the next day. And then the next day she's able to kind of walk a little bit. And I think like the second or third day, she had a little slide back. And literally that was the only day that she went back. And ever since she started sending tones and doing scans, the dog just got better and better and better every day. And it was only about 10 days later that she was actually able to go on a walk with me again, you know. And and I remember the last thing that she got over, which she's mostly over that now, Tammy, by the way. I didn't told you this, but she had this like this head tilt, right? And something about like the, I guess it's more common with old dogs, but and she had this Rocky Mountain tick fever is what it was, if I didn't say. But anyway, so she's got this head tilt. And so what happens every time she walks, the body wants to follow it. And it would making her wanting to just roll everywhere she was going. And so um and that was the last thing that got better. And gosh, now she's like pretty much just like your old self. She's going on long walks with me up in the mountains over the rocks and rough terrain and stuff. And I mean, she's a 16-year-old dog, so that was part of the reason that I thought, oh, this is it. You know what I mean? Like when you're that old, it's a lot to come back from. And she'd had this once before about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was really, really hard on her. And I was stunned that she'd be able to make it through a second time. And the first time that she had it, by the way, we did tons of steroids, antibiotics, anti-nausea, and then they give her just all, you know, all these pills and everything like that. And it ended up working. It didn't work as fast, right? And I'm pumping all these pills in her too, so that you know, I'm not super happy about. Um, and the only reason we decided to do it this way was because I was like, well, I don't know, man. If I take her to the vet, they're just going to be like, you know, we can't do anything right. I was afraid to take her in anywhere really. And then once I saw that it was working, I thought, well, let's stick this out. Let's see where it goes, you know. And so now here she is. She's feeling much, much better and getting around real fine. And like I say, from what I thought was pretty much death's door to a pretty normal dog in about 10 days, it was amazing.
That's awesome. So how do you think she's doing now?
I think that I mean, you know, she's like I say, she's 16, right? But you know, I would say she looks 13. How's that? You know, doesn't look a day over 13, right? You
That's
know,
awesome.
she's doing pretty good, and she's getting around, and most of that head tilt was gone. And honestly, I thought that that was kind of like just gonna stick around a little bit. You know what I mean? I felt like that wasn't gonna go away, but it's gone. It's pretty much gone. I mean, like maybe 90, 95% gone.
That's awesome. I'm just so
Yeah.
ecstatic to be able to just have a small hand because I know it's the body that's actually healing itself. But when we give it the needed frequencies and things that it wants and the love from you, then that's what got her better. So thank you for being on here. Thank you for sharing. And if you would like to put your contact information, or if you want to send it to me, I can send it out to everybody. That way, if anybody would like to come to you for your services, I'd be able to send them to you.
I just wanted to say I remember on your session, you'd never told me anything about alcohol, right? There's all these other different things you just kind of wanted to do, and we're sort of doing it for fun. And I remember I'd followed up with you a couple days later, and or maybe a week later, and you're like, "Yeah, I haven't had a drink since then." I was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't even know, right?" And the whole goal was to kind of just release any old, traumas, limiting beliefs, anything that's holding us back, and so whatever you released there obviously must have been like had something to do with the drinking, right? And
I
so that
think
must
so.
have been the difference there. And
I
so I
think
think it was
so.
kind of neat that's a pretty good side effect, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was an amazing one because I had tried to stop drinking many times, was not successful, and I just woke up one day and I was like, nope, I don't want it. And then I tried to drink some of it, and I'm like, nope, I have no
uh,
desire for it. None. And
that's so cool.
I even went a few months later, we went to Day of Discovery in September, and we all went to, a restaurant, and I did get a glass of wine, and I took a couple of sips out of it, and I'm like, I don't even want this. So, I mean, wine
You know,
was
the
my choice. So,
the the story I thought you were going to tell when you said you're going to tell your story, because I'd even forgotten about that one. I thought you were going to tell the one about the time that you were down in the conference for the AO scanner thing in Salt Lake City, and I don't, my goodness. All right. But anyways, thanks for having me on, and I hope you guys have a good one.
thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much.
All right, bye
All right. Anybody else? And we're going to be praying for you with your power. I hope you get it back on pretty soon.
bye. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for being here. All
That was
right,
awesome.
guys. Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
I just love the story, and I just Possum is dear to my heart too, though. But I love that dog. The first time I met her, I was like, I love this little dog. So anyway, it was great. Anybody else have anything that they would like to share? And I'm going to put the actual playlist I used for Possum in our group.
Excellent. My son just hit me up right before the call. One of my grandpups is having some digestive issues. So working on that right now.
There you go. If you have anything to share, just unmute yourself and share away.
Hi, Tammy and everybody. It's Alice.
Hello.
First, I wanted to say I got my agate bracelet that I won on the call. That was so surprised. And it feels so much different. I've been using just my leather bracelet that has a metal snap, and this, the energy feels heavier. The leather just feels real light. It's working, but it's like it was a lighter work. And today I've noticed some subtle changes in my desire to eat. I've been working on weight management to lose weight, and I've been working, of course, on the EMF and 5G, the ringing in the ears, that it's not even ringing, it's that buzzing white noise that's reducing and not coming back up, whereas before it would only reduce when I played it, and then it would come back up as soon as I stopped. And my feet have stopped swelling for the first time in months, probably 10 months. My feet have swollen and just not gone down. They are skinny. I have skinny feet.
Alice, is this just from wearing the blue agate bracelet, or did you charge it or
I've
imprint
been
it?
charging, I just got this yesterday. I've been charging this leather bracelet, and the only thing metal on it is the snap. And I've been doing this since April. And that's when I made the swelling playlist. And then about 2 weeks ago, I started doing the quick scan every morning and had all of my supplements in. So I'm actually getting my supplements only when my body needs it and what it needs. And the homeopathics I always load into this every day. I clear it every day and load it every day because I knew it wouldn't hold, a lot of the frequencies. And so it seems like just these last 2 weeks after using it since April, things are starting to subtly change in my body. And just, the joy that I'm feeling every time I look at my feet, it's like, I'm excited.
That's incredible. I tell this to everybody. When I started with the AO scanner, I didn't really notice a whole lot right at the beginning, but it was consistency and doing it every day. Everybody else around me started noticing things, and then I would start noticing subtle things, and I'm like, this is really working. The key word is subtle. It is very subtle, and it lets your body start to do what it's supposed to do. We have such an incredible tool, you guys.
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right. Anybody else? Oh, did you charge that out in the sun, Alice? Have you put it out in the sunshine yet?
I have not.
Oh,
But
wait till you do that.
I did do the energy clear and shield, but I haven't done the sun yet. So I will probably, and we're in Arizona, so sun is at a premium.
There you go.
It's easy to get to. So yeah, I will definitely do that.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, my son, my 30-year-old, he never has me scan, but every occasionally when he wants help. But he got one of the black side bend bracelets, just the black one. I gave it to him, I think, for Christmas one year. I think it was the first year that I was involved with the business when they came out. And do you know, he will not go a day without wearing that bracelet. And he goes, Mom, how do I charge it? I'm like, you put it out in the sun for, a couple hours. And he makes sure that he does it every week. I said, you can do it every 2 weeks. And he goes, nope, I'm doing it every week. I need the energy that thing gives me. So they work.
That is awesome.
We're doing this right here.
Tammy, I've got one I'll share.
Okay.
A couple of days ago, we had a storm system move through overnight, and upon the next day of waking up, I had a pretty good headache going on. I thought, well, this is not typical of, been plenty of storms here lately. But evidently this storm system had a lot of wind with it and drug some stuff in from somewhere else, sinus-wise, and that's what was affecting me. So I got out the scanner and did my selfie playlist for allergies, which consisted of breathe-free allergies and pollen, immune support allergies, sinus disorder, sinus pressure, sinusitis, sore throat. Anyway, I put that playlist on, and just within less than 5 minutes, I was noticing a significant difference. So it really worked well.
Thank you, honey. And I can testify to that because when he woke up, he kept holding his head at my desk. And I'm like, are you okay? And he goes, no, my head's really hurting. I went, well, are you playing Seffies for yourself? He goes, I will.
That is so awesome.
That the AO scanner is becoming closely his second best friend. So I'm the first. Okay, well, maybe Pearlie's the first, but
It's awesome.
all right, guys. Anybody else want to share? And if you're new here and you haven't got anybody that invited you, make sure to put a hello in the chat because I will reach out to you and give you a complimentary scan. So if you're new here, put a 1 in the chat. I'll see your name and I'll come send you a complimentary scan. We've got a lot of people on the call tonight. It's exciting. And just unmute yourself if you want to share.
Hi guys, it's Tamara.
Hi, Tamara.
I'm in Wisconsin and we are having what New York had with the air quality, and holy cannoli. Monday I had a headache beyond belief. I was running some scans and stuff. When I running errands. When I got home, I took the 660 band and I put it on the base of my neck, and then I put it on my forehead, and that seemed to kind of cut the edge of it. But I mean, today was worse than yesterday and the day before. But ever since I've been like overnight all day today, I have Mike and I both on as the target and running that all day. It's more tolerable. I mean, you walk outside and it looks like it's foggy. But that I think it's helping. It hasn't completely taken it away, but I'd hate to be without it to find out how I would feel without it. But just keeping on with that until we get some relief of the crazy, weird weather. So trying that.
Is that using the smoke playlist that Tammy published?
Yeah, that was the one I've been using.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
I
we're
just
in
put
Wisconsin.
that.
Weird.
Yeah, I put that in our team chat too. And if anybody wants that or needs it, and you're not in our team chat, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll give it to you. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, the air quality right now I'm hearing is pretty bad in Ohio, Indiana, because I've got some friends and family in Indiana, and then obviously in Wisconsin too. So it's at the upper eastern states that are really suffering right now. So if I could figure out how to put things in our chat here, I would, but I don't. I do everything from mainly Facebook, so I'll have to figure that out. Anybody else like to share anything? And it can be any testimonial on, any of our products, the scanner, the Cephi, the red light, anything that you're using. Go ahead, Connie.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this. I just love you so much. I
Well,
just have
I
to say
love you
that.
too.
So last night I was getting a new QLA started, and he came up from Arkansas. And this gentleman actually makes his own quantum devices. Like he has made a Tesla coil. Like he knows a lot about this sort of stuff, right? He does scalar energy devices.
Wow.
And he's so impressed with our technology. And he asked me to do something that we've never done before. And I just wanted to run it by you to see, like, maybe I've been missing this the whole time, or maybe we found something. So he was talking about scalar energy and how it's flat waves and how they like the power is when they intersect. And so he said, can we do an experiment? And you know me, I'm all about doing experiments with our stuff. And so he he is 70, can be 76 on Friday, and his eyes are not where he wants them to be. And so the night before, he had used the our wand that we have, and so he was noticing some improvement. And he said, "Well, if I'm already getting an improvement in that, like, what would happen if we had a playlist of things for my eyes, and then had a scanner here, and then one behind me, so like." The waves would and then imprint right into his eyes. So I don't know if people have been imprinting on their body yet, but we did it last night. And he's like, I know you think this is, and I'm like, no, I don't think anything's crazy because I've seen it all. And he said, I'm telling you, the fog, he had like a blur in one eye, and he's like, it's gone. I could see clearly now. And he was so excited. And so I don't know what your thoughts are on that, about one, imprinting instead of a playlist, imprinting into an item, but actually imprinting onto the body, because I use erase all the time to get rid of pain.
Yeah.
And I had not yet used the technology to imprint like into the body. And we know that there's crystalline structures inside of our body, so it makes sense. And to have, so we did his eye, we did a playlist for his eyes, and then we did a playlist for he had a stroke about 3 months ago. And so we did it on his brain. We did a stroke playlist on his brain. And then we also did his lower back, like, the front and the back. And he could not walk without being hunched over. And after we did his back, he was standing straight. And he's like, I can't remember the last time I've been able to stand up straight. So we were like imprinting his body and doing it with two devices so that the scalar waves, and he's like, does this work by scalar energy? I'm like, I don't know how it works. I just know it works.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear like any of your thoughts or feedback on that. And like, seemed to be a good experiment. Like it seemed like he got the results he was looking for. So what are your thoughts about that?
I think that is actually something to consider, honestly, because we've used the erase button. Why not? And I actually have 2 accounts with 2 devices, so we may just have to try that out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank
Well, it
you
makes
for
sense, doesn't it?
sharing. Yeah, it
makes
does.
sense.
It does. It makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
So-
for sharing that. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
experiment.
Yeah, you know,
Now
we
you
love
got
the
you got my
experiment.
Frankenstein coming out.
Well, I know that's how we think. We share that in common. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, I just am gonna hop on and see, you know.
Thank
So
you. Well, we're gonna have to try it. Scott and I will definitely experiment, and we'll share next week what we come up
yeah,
with.
let me know.
I
Awesome.
love it. I love it. Thank
Those
you.
are
Thank you.
profound results.
Right?
He got like really instant. Like now I'll tell you, we did a playlist from the like quantum frequencies. And then we also did a separate playlist that was homeopathic frequencies. So we did 2 different playlists.
Trouble with my computer.
Okay, no, you don't have to do it. I just do it from my end.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got her muted. Go ahead. Sorry. Are you still there, Connie?
I got muted too, so I'm good.
Okay, there you go.
So we did 2 different playlists per one, 2 for the eyes, 2 for the stroke, 2 for the back. And we did the playlist mostly from quantum frequencies, that list, the body list.
Mhm.
And then a separate one, we went under symptoms, under quantum the quantum homeopathics, typed in the symptom, found stroke, scanned his body for the, and then we wrote down the playlist and then programmed that in. So we had 2 different playlists. We had the quantum frequency playlist and then the homeopathic playlist. And so we ran both of those, just to be clear. And yeah, he got amazing results. And so, like I said, he knows how to build scalar energy devices. So he was like, can we do this? And I'm like, why not? Let's try it.
Why not?
And all that
Why
happened
not?
in one session.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I think we're on to something, Connie. I think you.
And I know we don't heal or.
Well, you muted
You
yourself.
muted yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what we can come up with next.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I mean, you're right. I use erase all the time to get rid of
Yeah.
pain on
I do
everything.
too.
So
Connie,
Yeah.
so were you under the playlist, were you doing just 20-second imprint? Or were you
Yes.
doing, okay.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we did 20-second imprint. And then on the homeopathic one, I think we did simultaneous just so that it would, we did simultaneous on both playlists. So 20-second imprint, simultaneous, front and back, because he has this theory about scalar waves. And so I said, you know more about this than I do. So that's what we did.
That's incredible. I look forward to trying that out and seeing. I hadn't even thought that far. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
I'm
you.
gonna have to
for
get a
sharing.
second account.
I know, right? Oh, that's a bad
Yeah, we
problem
have
to
it.
have, Sheila.
I know.
Well, I have a question about that. Can we just do an alpha pass? Could you do
Yeah,
an
you
alpha
could.
pass
Yeah, you could. You could do that just to try it. Yeah.
like with a different email?
Yep.
You know, and then you could have your scanner
Cell phone.
and then like a cell phone. Yeah.
That's a great
You
idea.
certainly could do that. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing. I so appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you and hug on you in September.
September, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Hope
Can't wait.
everybody's got their tickets. You guys need to get your tickets. All right. Ann, go ahead with your question, hon. or your testimony?
Wow, that's a hard one to follow up right there. Okay, so I have a couple of them. The first one is my husband had some like a tooth that was irritated. It's really like his gum. He's had this before. But basically, Monday night, it was irritated. He woke up Tuesday morning and it was completely swollen, like he couldn't close his mouth, like just that fast. We had been doing like the scanner and colloidal silver, some things like that anyway, and salt water, blah, blah, blah. And he was trying to manage it because he didn't want to have to go to the dentist, but it wasn't swell like that bad that I knew of. He might have had it, swelled up a little bit inside, but when he woke up in the morning, he couldn't even close his mouth. And so immediately I was like, oh my gosh, because you don't mess around with a tooth, like that. And so, I did the scanner. He went to the dentist right away. And he had, excuse me, he had some antibiotics, which I'm not big on antibiotics, but he had some from when he had this incident before. And he went ahead and took one that morning, and I ran the scanner on him like all morning, And so by lunchtime, he went to the dentist and got it checked, but they didn't really do anything except, write him another prescription. Anyway, and so when he came home from lunch, I could not believe the difference. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was still swollen, but it was half the size it was,
Wow.
And yes, we were doing the silver and the other stuff, and he did take one antibiotic, and then I ran a playlist on him and just had it running that whole morning. And when he came home for lunch about 4 o'clock, I really couldn't believe it. It was still swollen, don't get me wrong, but he could close his mouth, and he really should have stayed home, but he's a workaholic. So anyway, but he was so much better off, and he was so happy. I mean, he was just about dancing around the house because he was so miserable in the morning, and that's a pretty quick turnaround, But anyway, I just wanted to say that because it was a little disturbing to be that swollen, and you can die from stuff like that, if it goes too far.
Yeah.
So not really knowing where he was, but anyway, now do you have a quick question about a comprehensive scan? Is this okay to ask?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so ran on a client this morning. I ran their comprehensive scan. I've never seen this, and I needed to ask. On his chromosomes, his chromosome Y, his scan was the percentage from ideal was 33, and then when we optimized it, everything came up percentage from ideal, and it was 8.
That's okay.
And
You want it to go down.
Yeah,
You
but
do
I've
want
never
it to go
seen
down.
it that low. I've been scanning I've never seen an 8, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good positive sign, and you do want it to go down. It'll probably come up the next time you
Yeah.
scan, and you'll see it flip flop back and forth, but then it'll start to level out. That's what I've noticed too. So
Yeah. Okay.
all right. Anybody else? Thank you, Anne, for sharing the testimonial.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I can go if there's nobody else.
Sure. Go ahead, Dr. Darrell.
So hello, everybody. I was watching a interview that Lauren did. I guess he did it about a year or so ago. And it was on a podcast. And he spoke about, well, towards the end, I guess he really got generous with his time and loose with his tongue, because he started talking about broadcasting to your devices. And he mentioned that you could broadcast to the red light. I don't have the one from Solex. What is it called?
The 660 band or the inner illuminator?
Not the illuminator. I have the 660 band. And he was saying you could broadcast to the illuminator. And while you're doing what you're doing, you also are bringing in the extra frequencies of whatever it is that you might broadcast to a person. And it was interesting that when he said that, it immediately resonated with me. And I felt a little annoyed that I had not thought of that prior to him saying it, because that's kind of the way my brain works. And I had just never thought of that. And so one of the things that I decided to do, and Dr. Janine decided to do, was to take all of our devices, take pictures of them, and then add them to our scanner. For me, I work on people every day inside of a wellness center, and I don't have everybody in the scanner. It kind of depends on whether or not they're my client or the patient of somebody else that I happen to be working on. But I'm going to add all of these things to the scanner and have frequencies running to my wand and my chair and my jade mat and and the other lasers that I have, and take the treatments that I do to a completely new level, because I can have general health and wellness going inside of that. Or if I'm working on somebody in particular, I can have whatever I would have going to them in that moment going to that particular device. And so I think that I'm never going to not do that anymore at this point. I think I'm going to always do that. And Dr. Janine's mom, she went ahead before because, like we got all of this stuff. I think she just has the wand. So she just started broadcasting to her wand, and she had a knee injury, and it cleared up much faster than it had been doing prior to that. And so I just really want people to realize that when it comes to quantum physics and quantum entanglement, you are limited by your ability to think things through.
Yes.
And when you don't think things through, then you're limited by that. And someone was asking for clarity, and I guess I did kind of gloss over it. Basically, I'm just saying you go into the objects portion and you take a picture of whatever it is. For me, I'm taking a picture of all of my devices in one setting, and then I'll go into the description and describe what they are. And then broadcast whatever frequencies that I would broadcast to a person to that object or device, which in my case would be all of the tools that I use while I deal with clients.
And while you're using, like, let's say you, like, just so I can say this with some clarity. So you've taken, let's say, a picture of the 660 band, you put it in the objects, and you've got a playlist, broadcasting to it while it's on your wrist for, let's say, arthritis, and your playlist is for arthritis.
Yes, or arthritis is at least in the playlist.
In the playlist, yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. I think that
you're getting whatever the red light was going to do in the first place. You're already getting that.
Right.
But now it's like you've authorized that device to bring in other things and push it deeper. I do that sometimes already. Like I'll take a laser and I'll put a homeopathic over in front of it and put it near something. And the theory is you push that deeper into the body. Yeah. Well, if you surround that laser with that same energy, how much deeper can you go?
That's brilliant.
Just something to think about. Yeah.
It is brilliant. Thank you for sharing. Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they're asking, are you adding it to each client in their objects when you are using it on them, or just your own profile?
I will be adding it into each client because it's just one picture. I'm going to do it as one picture and I'm going to give it meaning. However, the brilliant thing about this is if I have somebody and I've never added them to the scanner and I don't have the time to do that, it will also be under me. Yeah. And so I'm holding the device. These are my devices. I don't really think it matters which one it goes to. But when I'm dealing with the client, I will have it broadcasted under them. But if it's an emergency situation where somebody's not in the scanner, it's still surrounding that object and they still get the benefit from it, from my perspective.
Absolutely. I think that's incredible. What a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else think outside the box? Want to share?
That is one of my least best skills. So I appreciate people like Dr. Daryl that do think outside the box because it helps me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking about thinking about outside the box, how could you help like a hotel with bed bugs or something like that?
What
Um,
I always do, and this is a regular practice of mine, is I actually take a picture of the hotel room. I'll back up to to the doorway of it and take an overall picture of the hotel room. And then in the description, I actually put the room number, the address of the hotel, all of that, and put that in spaces and objects, and then run a clearing and shielding frequency list on that. And if you want to add like parasite DT and all that in your list, that's what I do. And it never fails. If I forget to run a clear on a hotel room, the next day when I scan myself, bed bugs always show up. Not that I have them, it's just that you've got that energy that's imprinted on you now. So it's something I do all the time.
could you, so then you could really do it to help a hotel with their business.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll give you an example. When we were out trying to buy our car, that Jeep Fiasco that I had, I don't know, it's probably been about 8-10 months ago. At the dealership, they actually had a plant there, and I said, and it had something around it, and I can't remember that would hold the frequency. It's been so long. But anyway, I told him, I said, I showed him the scanner and I scanned them all there, the sales guys and everything, because they were like, what is this thing that you do with AO scan and this, that, or the other? That's the reason why they asked me about it. And I said, well, let me, and it was the general manager, and I asked him, I said, can I imprint your plant with abundance? And he goes, what? And I went, yeah, let's see if your business will thrive. Do you know that they called me the next week and they said, we've got so much business right now, we're turning it away. And I went, scanner must work.
Wow.
And I've done that along, when I'm on my travels, like I did that with a rock shop, a girl at a rock shop. I had her pick out one of her favorite rocks. And I said, let me imprint this with some abundance for you. She had the same reaction. She called me a week later and she goes, I've got so much business right now. It's just incredible. What did you do? And I went, I just imprinted abundance in that rock. So it works.
Wow.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Tammy, it's Vicky in Sarasota.
Hi, Vicky.
Hey, sweetie. You guys just gave me an idea. What about those of us in real estate and they move into a new house or a previously loved house from somebody else? How would you suggest we go about that? And, not just abundance, but clearing energy. I mean, what would you suggest?
That's exactly what I would do. In fact, I had a friend that they were selling their house, and she goes, Tammy, can you do something with the scanner to help clear out and make this house more attractive? Because they had it on the market for, I want to say it was on the market for a good couple of months. And then she had me do my thing, and so I just did a clearing and a shielding on it, and I broadcasted some frequencies for it. And then she messaged me and she said, okay, the open house is today. And I said, okay, I'll be running the frequencies on it. And I put the house in my objects, and I ran a frequency playlist with love and lots of abundance and affirmations. And she called me and she goes, house sold. It was like fourth or fifth person that walked in, house sold. I went, what? So it works, you guys. It really works. Put your bank account in objects.
Yeah, I just added to the chat that I also put my Solex commissions in
Yes.
my objects.
There you go. You're just like Dr. Darrell said, your limitations are really up here. If you can think beyond, then you can do it with energy. So if you think of it and you think it's kind of off, it's probably going to work. So just try it.
I can testify to the fact that I have not been able to run my essential oil diffusers because of all of the stuff that's going on. But I put our home as an object, the whole lot that we're on, and have been running a home detox. with the parasites and the what is it, verma and virus and just insects, anything that I could think of that would be
Considered dark.
yes or
Yeah.
foreign to because we have scorpions and we have crickets and we have spiders.
Yeah.
And we've been here 3 years and every year we get crickets, just unbelievable. Not a one this year, not one.
Wow.
And the only thing I've done different is run that detox, that home detox. I run it for about an hour, maybe 2 times a week.
Mhm.
That's it. It's been so phenomenal.
Yeah. I've had people tell me that they don't have pests where they used to have pests, because of playing frequency, putting your home in there and doing the frequencies. Even when we had the tornadoes and stuff, I will put my home and my kids' home in the spaces and objects and run frequencies on it. So during tornado season, because we get hit hard in Oklahoma. So yeah, it's incredible ways to use your scanner. Anybody else?
Do you have any suggestions for kidney stone?
For what? You broke up.
Kidney stones.
Yeah, we have a great
Kidney stone.
playlist for that. Yeah, I'll send you a playlist on that. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Anybody else like to share anything?
How would we ask them to add a homeopathic or a, well, I don't know if it's a homeopathic or an herbal, but Chanca Piedra is phenomenal to break up stones of any kind.
Oh
And
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if there's not an herbal list in there. It's only things that we would put in, but then you would still have to take it if I'm understanding it correctly. Is
Yeah,
that
you
right?
still need to take whatever it is, but you could actually take the word of it, put it on a white piece of paper and put it on that imprint button
Mhm.
on your scanner and imprint that into the homeopathic pellets. So just write the name of the herb
Okay.
and transfer that energy, because what you're doing is you're inviting that energy in. And if you set that intention and you invite that energy in, then it's going to go into that homeopathic pellet.
And do you think the company is ever going to be adding herbs?
I think that we're probably going to move in a direction where you might be able to add some of your own things. Yes. Because I think that's been kind of the chatter among all of us. Lauren's amazing. I mean, he listens to everything we say and what we do. Our devices or our technology is going to expand crazy now that we are moving away from devices. So people are going to be able to buy their own device, whatever device they want, and we can just focus on the technology. So, and it's just going to go crazy. I mean, your minds are just going to be blown. So hang on tight.
That already happens.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That means you can use any cell phone or any device.
You can. And you got an email today from Solex that had the recommendations. So go look at your email, and I'll be posting that in our group too. And I already did in our chat group, but it has the recommendations of what your devices should be. So just make sure that you go look at your email.
Yeah, I read that and I was intrigued with it because one of the things that they've had a problem in the past, from what I understand, was like the processor. So if you ran a playlist for a long time on not the scanner device, but you're in cell phone or something, potentially you could damage it because it didn't have the technical capabilities of running something that long.
And the reason
You muted yourself, Tammy.
Yeah, I muted myself. Anyway, the reason for that is because most people have more than just a blank device. You want to get a device that is solely dedicated for your scanner. You don't want to be using Facebook. You don't want to be emailing from it. You don't want to be doing a lot of that stuff. You just want a device that is just solely for your scanning capabilities. If you use it on a cell phone and you have all this stuff, it is going to interrupt. So just, I mean, you can get a Costco tablet right now for like $167, and it's a Lenovo tablet, I believe. So go do some, looking about. You can pick up these devices very cheap now. So just make sure that you get one that meets the specifications.
Tammy, have you heard anything about the possibility of making it so that you can set the time you want for a CEPI list instead of just 2 minutes or continuous?
Yeah, they're coming out with that too, because a lot of practitioners, and even the older device, or not the older devices, but the big professional devices, you could actually set up like CEPI groups and times, and I
Right.
think that will be coming. Yes, because everything
Yeah.
that the large device is what the handheld is supposed to be doing, but they've been kind of caught up on all these glitches with the sanctions that are in these manufacturers devices, that
Right.
they've been working on that instead of the actual scan technology, and that's where we want to focus.
Awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
I think everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised come September. There's so much coming. All right, we've got about 6 minutes left. Anybody else want to share anything?
And I have one more. My son had psoriasis. I'm not sure if I already gave you feedback on that, but his psoriasis was very stubborn. It's very hard to deal with. And when we were in a meeting and you had suggested the Mayism, on there, and so when I changed that, he really it accelerated his healing like unbelievably. And it had been so stubborn for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Part of it was he was not regimented on his, he's young and he wasn't regimented like he should be. That was number one issue. But when I did the Mayism, added that, and that really, I couldn't believe it. It just really took off. And then the other thing, I was working with my uncle on his lymphatic system under his arms were plugged up. They did a playlist on that. He went back to the doctor, and we had dinner the other night. We had been talking about how to get it unplugged. So we running a playlist on him. He went back to the doctor, and it had shrunk half the size of what it was. It's still plugged, but he doesn't really. I said, well, have you done this? Have you done that? And he's like, no, he doesn't really help himself. But running the playlist on him, is shrunk half the size on both arms. I mean, excuse me, not both arms, the left arm, excuse me. So
That's incredible too. All right, anybody else? Got a couple minutes left.
I'll just share real quick. I had my one girlfriend that has the QLA. Her daughter has been quite skeptical. And I know Dr. Janine had talked about how her daughter's like, oh, can't we just get some real drugs or real whatever? She was walking her dogs and she twisted her ankle. So they have 3 dogs. So she said, you go home. So she hobbled home. I finished walking the dogs, and when I got back, I put the 660 band around her ankle. She goes, I played a playlist, and she was complaining, like, I gotta sit here this whole time with this, thing on my ankle. And she said, she calmed down, and she goes, it got done, and she went, doesn't hurt. She got up, started walking around, and walked away, and she's like, "Oh, teenagers." So
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I love having these calls. If you guys have friends or teammates that are sharing experiences, please ask them to join or let you share their stories, because this is so empowering for everyone to hear how people are using this and the kind of results they're getting. It just blows my mind every week. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It does me too. And today, just to give you an idea, I told Dr. Sheila that, you know, I invited Kelly on because I wanted you guys to hear this testimony from his words and not from mine, because it's more empowering if you actually hear from the people that are getting the results and they don't have an AO scanner. Kelly doesn't have an AO scanner. Kelly and Araya do not have one. I've been working with them for a couple of years, and I think it would be an incredible tool for them, but they're just not there yet, and that's okay too. So I wanted them to come on and share their testimonial. And if you can get anybody to come on and share theirs and they're not too shy, please have them come on. You know, and if you know of anybody that we can showcase on this call, invite them. You know, we'd love to expand our community.
Yep. It just helps everybody.
It does. It does. All right, guys, we've got just a couple minutes before the Solex corporate call starts. And I know there's going to be a big announcement tonight, so guys, stay tuned. And if there's anything, you know, that you want to bring next week, just let me or Dr. Sheila know what what plans you have, and we can make it happen. Because we just want to grow this. So thanks everybody for being here, being with us tonight. We know that we took you away from family, and that means a lot to have you on the call. And I just appreciate each and every one. Do you have any last words, Dr. Sheila?
Nope, I'm just again reinforcing how empowering this is for other people. And we are so grateful that you take time out of your schedule, because I know we are all busy. This isn't easy for me either, but I just feel that it is that important that this is something that I need. And the more we can bring other people in here too, we keep them encouraged, we keep them inspired. And I mean, listen to the different things people are sharing. I wouldn't think of so many things that people bring up. So that is the power of this call, is just, we're all so different. We think differently, but together we can just do so many more things. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate you.
Yes, we do. All right, guys. Well, we'll call it an evening, and jump on the Solex call if you can. It's on the YouTube. It's a premiere, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.